Yeah, so thank you again.
And this is stuff that we do every day that we kind of take for granted, the knowledge and the amount of knowledge that we have.
No, absolutely.
And our skill set, but most people buying home are just like,
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
All right, you guys, how are we doing? So we're back today with Carl from Top Notch Home Inspections on the Big Island of Hawaii. I wanted to talk to Carl a little bit because sellers are always wondering what they can do to get their property ready before they come to market. And, you know, I can easily tell a seller or tell a client, great landscaping is going to sell your property, making sure you have good curb appeal, you know, making sure you've got lots of lighting and natural lighting and all these wonderful tips. But I want to hear from you, a professional home inspector. What are some things that a seller can do to bring their property to market or to get ready to list their property for sale?
That's a good question, because for you, like you said, you're like, wax it, you know, make it look pretty. And for us, we're like, lift up the hood and let's get down to work and make it run good and all that. So just as a metaphor, but you're right. There's a lot of things that we find on an inspection that nobody knew about. It's not anticipated at all. So really, to answer your question, the best way to get for a seller to get ready for selling their property is to get a home inspection. That's the best way, but we do understand that a home inspection is an additional cost. You have to pay to have someone come out. You have to be there, you have to facilitate it.
It's worth it. I honestly recommend to my sellers to get a home inspection up front, because what you can do then is, after you find out everything that Carl discovers or everything that the home inspector discovers, you can then disclose some of that information, or you already have the report ready. And that way, you know, if you get these repairs done or you let the buyer know, hey, we've already done this inspection, then, you know, more likely than not, everybody will be on the same page moving forward, right?
Yeah, we have one of our inspectors, Ryan, out today, and it's funny they asked this question because a seller called us and said, hey, I'm listing my property, I want to get an inspection, I want to know everything that's wrong with it. So we went out, we did an inspection. She called us back a couple months later and said, hey, we did everything on the list, which is certainly not required. You don't have to do everything on the list, but she did. And he's going back out today to verify those repairs upon her request. And what we're going to do for her is just basically make a copy of the report, so she always has that original, and then he'll go in, if something's been repaired, he's going to remove it from the list. And then you have a report that you can then share with your buyers. Hey, we already had a home inspection done, we did a bunch of repairs, here's the final report, and it's almost like a Carfax report. And that builds a lot of trust right off the bat. People kind of know what to expect. Sometimes they'll call us and say, hey, we took a look at your report, it looked very thorough, we'd like you to come back out, we're going to do, you know, we're going to have a couple more things done, and you can verify it. And sometimes they're like, I'm good with it. You know, maybe I want a sewer scope inspection, and then other than that, I'm good. I'm happy with what they did,
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, I would definitely recommend any of you out there who are watching this, if you're thinking about bringing your property to the market, or you want to list your property for sale, but you're not sure about, you know, what's behind door number 1 or door number 2, right? Or if there's anything underlying that maybe we need to figure out before we get an offer and get it opened into escrow, it's always good to talk to your professional, identify what those repairs are going to be, maybe even just getting quotes and slowly working on the repairs one at a time. If that's what it takes for you personally, I encourage you to do that.
Yeah, and as a note, we know that it's not appropriate or it's not possible for everyone to get a pre-listing inspection. So we took the time to create what we call our seller's cheat sheet to home inspection. And it's basically a list of kind of mostly minor things. Some of them are safety related that can be kind of red items on a report that are commonly found on home inspections that you can go through and maybe even give this to your handyman and say, hey, I want you to go down this list, check everything. Things like getting up on the roof and just doing an overall check. And we go into detail about how to do that, but a roof needs to be looked at probably every 4 to 5 years. There's some things that need to be maintained, sealants, flashing, things like that. So that can be really helpful. If you go to our website at hawaiitopnotch.com and click on the menu, it's under agents, and then we have some tools for our agents.
Go check out the seller's cheat sheet on www.hawaiitopnotch.com. And then if you feel like there's a lot of things on that cheat sheet that are kind of pointing themselves out to you, maybe it is time to order a home inspection before you list your property for sale. Yeah. Well, thank you, Carl, so much. I really appreciate you taking the time to answer my questions. And anybody who out there is watching, go ahead and go follow Carl. His Instagram is homeinspector_Hawaii. And you guys can follow me too at Real Hawaii Estates. Thank you so much.
Aloha.
Aloha.